Sir, shall we start, sir?
Yeah, wait for a minute. Wait for a minute. Just a minute.
Okay.
1 minute is it.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, you can please start.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Respected Professor Biswajit Patnaik, founder and president ASBM University, Professor Kalyan Sankar Ray, Vice Chancellor ASBM University, Professor Falgu Niranjana, Pro Vice Chancellor, and Professor Hemant Panda, Dean School of Accountancy, ASBM University. We welcome all dignitaries to our 22nd webinar at ASBM University on the topic, the new normal for retail business. I request all the participants to mute your mics to avoid technical glitch except our esteemed panelists. Today, we were fortunate enough that we have three panelists in our session. Our first panelist, Mr. Kumar Rajgopalan sir, who is Chief Executive Officer, Retailers Association of India. Welcome, sir. Our second panelist, Dr. Poonam Kumar, Assistant Professor, IIM Sambalpur. Welcome, madam. Our third panelist, Mr. Kamadeva Mohanty, Chief Coordinating Officer, Reliance Retail. Welcome, sir. So we heartily welcome you all in this August gathering. After a brief introduction about the panelists, you are requested to share your ideas with the participants, followed by a short question answer session. Our first panelist, sir, Mr. Kumar Rajgopalan sir, is Chief Executive Officer at Retailers Association of India. Retailers Association of India is a body that encourages, develops, facilitates, supports retailers to become modern and adopt best practices that will delight customers. Prior to joining Retailers Association of India, he was the country head retail solutions at IBM, and he is also executive director and chief operating officer of Crossword Bookstores. He was also with Shopperstop Limited for 13 years. He is associated with various organizations and industry bodies that help and promote retail. He is also a visiting faculty in various business institutions. He has coordinated articles to magazines and newspapers on topics like profitable retail operations and on famine theory in buying and merchandising, strategic resource management in retail. Over the years, he has witnessed successfully by taking up functions that require startup skills or turnaround skills. We welcome you, sir. Our second panelist, Dr. Poonam Kumar, Assistant Professor at IIM Sambalpur. She has more than 18 years of experience of industry, academics, research, training, and consulting, with mixed experience of working under different Indian and international university systems. She has served and shouldered many administrative responsibilities like program director, course leader, PG and executive program at various Indian universities and under Nottingham Trent University system. She has been actively involved in training and she has conducted various training programs for middle, senior, top level executives in Maharatna and Navratna PSUs like NHPC, BHEL, GIL, IOC, etc. She has numerous publications in referred international and national journals in proceedings of in her credit. She has also presented research papers in various referred journals and conferences, including at London, Sri Lanka, Thailand, IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Bangalore, IIM Kozhikode, IIM Indore, IIM Lucknow, etc. See in her credit have books on research methodology and brand management. We welcome you, madam. Our third panelist, Mr. Kamadeva Mohanty sir, is CEO at Reliance Retail. He has been working in Reliance Retail for the last 15 years. Prior to worked at Zonal Head at IDBI Bank for 8 years. He's also worked in United Bank of India for 11 years. So with this rich experience, we welcome you, sir, to our webinar program. So when it comes to our webinar, the new normal for retail business, COVID-19 pandemic continues to impact Indian retailers at an unprecedented scale. The crucial question is find the new normal. Since the lockdown, retailers across all spectrums are facing a multitude of challenges. Even food and grocery retailers have a critical challenges. So with this, I would like to request our first panelist, sir, Sri Kumar Rajagopalan, sir, to please give his deliberation for 15 minutes. Sir, please.
Thank you very much. Firstly, thank you for calling me onto this plethora of people who come in. I mean, when I'm a practicing dukandar normally, and when I come into this set of people who are all professors and doctors, it's slightly unnerving. But I try and do justice to what's happening because thankfully the topic is something that's close to my heart and easier for my brain. So I think it's interesting times that all of us are living in. It's interesting because what has happened is something that none of us believed would happen. What has happened, some people did think from a point of view of a game theory perhaps, but I don't think they thought that they would live through this. This is a complete black swan event. This is an event that's made us all sit back and think, what's going to happen tomorrow? It's an event, this pandemic is made sure that the entire relationship between human beings and the way we interact on a day-to-day basis is got completely changed. But it's also given a set of new ideas, a new set of new methods, more importantly, a new way of living life. And what's coming out very clearly is that life matters. With that thought in mind, I'd like to kind of give a shot of what's happened to all of us in retail. Also tell you a bit about Retailers Association of India for those who are uninitiated. It's also my chance to sell a bit about Retailers Association of India. The Retailers Association was created in 2004. It was created by the key retailers in the country. And almost all the modern retailers in the country are members with us. This includes all the national retailers. Also, almost all of the international retailers who are in the country are members. We do three things. We do advocacy. We work very deeply with the government. We also do lots of learning initiatives. And then we do what we call as market creation activities, where we come out with thought leadership articles with some really leading people from across the world. And then we also try and bring in lots of events. With that understood, I think it's essential to know what's happened in these few months. In the March, when this whole shutdown happened, and the shutdown happened initially for the malls, because the large malls were seen as the ones that were the super spreaders, so to say. And then, of course, the Prime Minister said what he said, and all of us knew that we are in for a lockdown. Some of us were slightly prepared, but I can tell you I have not met anybody who said he's prepared for this extended amount of lockdown for so long. Retail businesses did get impacted. Retail businesses got impacted because most of the stores, most of the restaurants, most of the service provision places were all shut down all of a sudden. The business impact in the month of March was, let's say, around 80% of the last year. In the month of April, the business that they created was about 20% of the last year. And then it continued for a couple of months. And then slowly things started opening up. The only business that was really opened up was the food businesses. But even there were enough issues that happened. And all the businesses were only allowed to sell in essential products, which means they were told that you can sell this part of your products, which is food, but you can't sell the other thing that was, for example, utensils, etc. So we got definitions of various kinds at that time. What was essential? What was not essential? When do you sell? How do you sell? Whom do you meet? How do you meet? Quite a lot of things we learned. I'm telling this a bit of history because I think it kind of brings back what's happened to all of us. But this also brought back a question for all of us to come together and to survive. And the beautiful thing about India has been two big things. One is that I think we've got this population which supports a good amount of GDP and this population that consumes. The second part is that this whole food was allowed to operate, and the government and the various authorities came in together and made sure that all kinds of food businesses were open. And the nearby Kirana Walas became the most important people for us. But any nearby food businesses also became very important for all of us. The government and us, in fact, we got a whole lot of stakeholders together. We created WhatsApp groups across the country to get every state to get involved in the way in which we work together. Lots of things got sorted out, and I have to tell you, for those who are naysayers, that the government did come in and work along with us to make it happen. We got support from unusual places. People who were police commissioners in some places, etc. came in. We also found people who were unwilling to budge. I mean, that's a different kind of a story. But what I'm saying is that the human life came in of importance, and all of us came together. And this is very unlike the West, where there was a run in the supermarkets. So all of us in India have to feel good about the way in which we managed to do things the way we did it at the start. Businesses went on, but our recoveries did not happen so fast. The real recovery happened a couple of months before, where it became 60% of last year. Last month was about 70% of last year overall as Indian retail. And this is something that we are seeing as improving, but definitely not what we are accustomed to. Having said that, I think lots of lessons to be learned from the way consumers are shopping, from the way each one of us are behaving, and the way in which things will go forward. That I'll take up after some time, once we come back to the questions. I'll allow for others to speak now. We can't hear you, Dr. Das.
I request all the participants to post your questions, which can be discussed in the question and answer session. And thank you very much, sir, for your deliberation. May I now request Professor Poonam, please give your deliberation. I request all the participants to please unmute your mics so that there will be no issues. I request once again. I request Professor Poonam to please give your deliberation.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you so much, ABSM. Thank you, Dr. Srinivas, for calling actually this. I think there is a kid who is speaking at between. So sweet. All right. So giving us this opportunity to be here. Before I start, I think I'll start with what Kumar Raja sir has just stated, and that is that we played like a team at this time while we were working with respect to, well, world are attempting to return to the semblance of this normality, which was not so easy. So when I'm stating team as a management faculty, I can say we were together. And I think that is an expectation that we will be together. So as an academician, I want to state that already a retrosection was being done long back in 2015, 2014. There are articles, there are publishing houses which has already been actually published in stating that there is a need of digital transformation to be done from or with the area of real retail states or with the area of retail. So when I'm talking about this reality of digital or this reality of growth prospect with respect to that change in the mindset of retailers, they were thinking about it. They were already also thinking about it, how to bring back that cashless system which would come into our parking system. Because I'm coming from Delhi and NCR, and I know the major problem which we face over there initially to go into any of the malls. I mean, if I'm talking about the retail format with respect to the mall, was of course with the parking. So that thought was already there. The only thought to disseminate and come into practicality was how to bring that into a digital transformation. And they were always collaborating, speaking, talking about it. And this is what is an intervention. So the intervention has come up in the form of a COVID, or we can say a human mind, which has changed our mindset in bringing a digital transformation into retail. So welcome to digital retail out here. And that is what we are talking as a new normal. And I think there are many coin terminology which has been given by many of the people. And we can state that coin terminology here is brick to click or click to brick, how to bring brick and mortar into clickology, or how to bring clickology into brick and mortar. So that is what, as an academician, I would like to start with it. Now let's see with the perspective of how did we challenge it. So as a consumer, if I state, I am just narrating a small story. I was residing in Vaishali in a society which is Designa, which is very close to Anand Vihar. And suddenly one day I found that the society is getting sealed, or there is a containment zone which is going to be called up here. The fear factor which came in my mind at that moment of time was rush. Rush to bring the grocery, rush to have all those minimal things which are required at our house at that moment of time. And that's not only for me, that is for n number of consumers who were there at the same society or nearby society residing in the same place. And all of them had the similar kind of an retrospection. They were thinking in the similar mind. And that gave a pressure to our CPG, that is Consumer Packaged Goods Market. So humble Kirana stores, no doubt, they tried their best to come into this digital transformation. They tried to give us n number of things into our WhatsApp group. They created it. They created an app for us over there that don't be panic, we are here for you. But it was not a panic for us, but it was the other way around, panic for those people because they were the one who were facing the problem with their supply chain. They were the one who were facing the problem with their logistics, and we could sense that. So, as an academician, I'm also saying that there is a reinvention which was already been required, and that reinvention has actually come into place where all the retailers are trying to come together with the brands and thinking about a new normal. They're coming into different channels. So called, we call it as a omni channel, we call it as a fully digital, whatever word we want to coin it. But we have to come to this particular transformation, and that is a need of an hour. So when I'm talking about this, I think this contactless, this digitality, appointment, a prior appointment with respect to any of the online shopping, which was also in a thought or into some of the personalization of the luxury brands, which is also a new normal norm, which we are going to do even for basic consumption here. And I think experiential retailing, that is also something which is really, really very important. But may I share that above all, how are we going to see the mindset of the consumer? So, students, for you, this is here. When we see the walls model and when we see your motivation versus resources, how do you feel at the time of pandemic? We all feel at the time of pandemic that we have money. Some of them, even despite of losing your jobs or your salaries, which every one of us going through, but we are not spending much. So our spending power has actually gone low. So this spending power, which has actually gone low, has made our mindset, our motivation, not to be with respect to now the self-expressor or an achiever, but we are idealistic. So see, we are idealistic. We want to see this motivation level with that same resource. Very strategically, we want to invest that. So when we want to invest that very strategically, again, this new retail ecosystem is here for us, which is giving us this platform that choose your best, go for your best because anyhow your internet penetration is really really very high. So 650 million, of course, internet users by now, 30% of the smartphone users by now. Nothing bad in it. We are already into the education system also going online. So we are clear that we have to be the part of this digital transformation. Up to us whether we want to go up this contactless with choosability or physically appointment per, because we are touch based people. We do need some sort of a touch, and retailers have actually seen that, and that is one of the prospects which they are going to provide us. So what I want to even tell to each one of you that for this new normal, this was something which was unprecedented. We were not prepared for it, but God has given this opportunity that anyhow that thought process which was going in the mindset of retailers for years and years, we are now into it. That game is on. Since that game is on, we are trying to build ourselves in the same ecosystem. And in the same ecosystem, even the consumer mindset has come to that same level. So we have adopted online teaching, we adopted online e-commerce long back, we're going to adopt this online with respect to offline and offline with respect to online relationship model also. And that is what every retailer is choosing now. We've been hearing that it's something which has really been creating in our mind a fear that if we go to a mall and if the ACs are running or working, this COVID is going to impact us. I think that Sir would be the best person to talk about it, Mohanty sir, but I have just seen that with number of articles from Mishra and all, this kind of an preconceived, a kind of a fake news which is floating throughout actually is not the right concept which should actually go on. So the number of things which are coming up, floating up, and keeping ourselves engrossed to think that this should be done, this should not be done. But as a wiser consumer, we know that what we are looking forward. We cannot live without our staple products. We cannot live without our convenience products. And forget of that. We are also here to actually look for our shopping products also. It's not we are going to stop shopping. We are going to only look for the ways. We are going to only look for the methodology to go for shopping. So, as again, with the new normal, the concept what retailers should actually look for is I want to give that 5 different concept of C, which was already been said, but I'm going to put that into a different context here. So the first C which I want to put up here is the convenience. As a consumer at present is looking for convenience. He doesn't want to travel at a higher place or travel, to longer places. So how are you going to provide them with that convenience? How are you going to place them with that convenience? That is something really, really important. Second is, of course, control. So when I'm stating this second C as control, I'm putting up this in my model as control with respect to all the hygiene effect, which we are supposed to take care when we are entering a kirana store, a supermarket, or a hypermarket, or a mall, or any of the category killer where we are looking forward. So we all are clear. We have been used to using masks. We have been used to actually using sanitizers. We know what social distancing is now because we know our own benefits out there. We have become idealistic. So we have become idealistic because these things has come into as a fear in our mind that if you don't do this, you're going to face problems. So this is the second C, which I want to give this in my model over here after convenience. The third I would like to speak here is the context. And when I'm seeing this particular context, this is something with respect to the personalization of the consumer. There should be a 360-degree viewpoint, which has already been done, but I think now there is a need where for an individual consumer, if you do not want to lose them, then a high standard of relationship marketing is really, really required. So that has to be seen with the level of this context. Then, if you're making a context, curate the context with respect to those individual consumers, make them as a stakeholder, depends, it's going to come up tomorrow that we are going to move beyond our financial level of CRM, beyond our social level of CRM to stakeholder level of relationship marketing in our retailers branding also. So retailers and brands should come together, partner together and think on it, how to curate this market. Finally, the last word which everyone of us are looking forward here in my model, and that is satisfaction and the customer satisfaction. Ultimately, when the 4Cs are already been done, which is in place now, which is actually been taken up into this new normal retail, the customer satisfaction is going to come. Hiccups are there, problems are there, challenges are there. It's not so easy as we put down the things and pen down the things on a piece of paper. But things are happening. And since the things are happening, we are moving beyond. And that's the way we are moving into this new retail. Thank you all for this. I'll be really happy for some of the questions out there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your deliberation, and we hope we'll address the questions which are posted in the question hour session. May I now request our third panelist, sir, Kamadeva Mohanty, sir, to please give his deliberation on this topic, the new retail, new normal retail business. Sir, please.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks, Dr. Sunil, and many thanks, Dr. Poonam and Ms. Kumar and Professor Patnaik, actually giving me the opportunity and the entire ASBM, to share my experience with you. In fact, as the Chief Operating Officer of one of the largest retailer of India, at the distinct opportunity to experience, how we handle the front end. I would like to put it, at least on 3 buckets. One is how actually the store operations, the front end, got impacted, how all the retailers handle. Second, actually from the merchandising side, what happened. Third, actually what Dr. Poonam mentioned about the e-commerce piece, how it has really spiked. 3 buckets I would like to touch upon. On the store operations, distinctly as we can see, the stores could open. It is because of the customer centricity that the store associates or the people who are in the forefront in the store, though, who serve the customers. And because of, they are passed on to serve the community, their, societal engagement, all this really pulled them back, to the stores. When most of the customers were not, going out, people are scared. What is going to happen next day? Nobody, at least didn't know. And even amidst those challenges, these people never dared and, were never feared. They, at least console their family. Every morning, evening, these boys and girls, actually, they kept coming to the store. There were a lot of challenges, a lot of, travel restrictions. People have been, bitten because they didn't know at least how to come. But yes, higher authorities were helping. But, these people kept the stores open. If I distinctly remember last week of, March, when, stores were opened as low as, 2 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. And for last month or so, the operating hours, most of the retailers that they operate, close to around 15 hours. Now it is back to close to around 13 hours, excepting the Punjab that for strike which is going on where it is impacted, otherwise Pan India, it has literally opened up to a great extent. Territories which are really coming up, very fast on the opening time, and the business as a whole, really coming up very fast is the East and the South. North is catching up, and West also will catch up. So with, Diwali around festive seasons, this, at least will catch up. What Mr. Kumar shared, initial days, yes, the number of tickets of the bills that all retailers counts, they know only 2 things. One is NOB and the average bill value or the basket value a customer buys. While the average bill value had really gone up because, customers came less. They're all, concerned about the safety, and overall, at least number of bills or the visits to the store definitely distinctly reduced, but those are also coming back. As you mentioned that around 70-80% of the NOBs, is dipped. Now it is coming back to nearly actually around 10-12%, and, at least some hardly 15-20%, but, it is recovering very fast. And yes, all the new normal is the customer's frequency of visit will, likely to be impacted. But now you have got other tools available, for the online shopping, which I will touch upon later. Second, actually, how from the store end, the overall safety standards have, at least gone up. You have to make customers feel that, at least it is safe, secured. All the norms that we mentioned about whether you talk of, sanitizer usage or temperature check or usage of mask or, social distancing. In many parts of the country, currently only 5 customers are permitted. This lower store, maybe 10. So it also varies from local restriction, how they're liberal and all, at least accordingly it varies. But overall store hygiene maintenance, it is in the top of the mind of every retailer. They have even taken care of all the associates, and we have got even artificial intelligence measurement of the family members, their safety standard of the associates. So that really helps all the retailers to maintain that their associates feel safe, their family feels safe, their team members are coming. The next is about actually who are the people who have been successful. Actually, this kind of turbulence really gives opportunity to retailers who are agile, who have a strong actually robust operating system. They tend to gain such kind of environment. That's what has happened to the retailers who have managed well. Grocery business per se, obviously for every retailer it was at least in the next step. In the forefront you'll have lifestyle, other businesses. But yes, the kind of recognition grocery retailers got, it has been really phenomenal, and everybody felt happy things are coming back. So that's about the operational piece. Coming to the merchandising piece, yes, as Mr. Kumar shared, initially it was all about the basic essentials. Essentials in the sense I distinctly remember somebody is placing atta, any atta is available, you have to give it, or any, at least dal or any tel, oil. That's the kind of, at least thing which came. The supply line also got choked initially from the factories, at least their own workers ran away. And those were the initial, challenges, for the first couple of months or 1.5 months. But things really bounced back quickly. All the family members, they settled out at home. Then we started at least introducing the merchandising, which could lead little bit of a joy in the family. Whether you talk of, at least you can have, at least pasta or a milkmaid, or, all the exotic ranges that you could connect. So what has, at least the learning has been, the business has grown. Some of the retailers, if you, consider, now your online and offline together, even, the number of bills really has, gone up. It could be around, even 10% higher compared to last year's. Those who are really doing well. So that's the kind of, at least growth has happened. The next bit, the margin also mix has changed. The usage of more healthy foods and, the consumption pattern, the way it has changed, the margin mix has changed for better for the retailers who are, at least handling well. The other actually opportunity, as I find, not from here, I started my retail journey from the eastern part of the country, incidentally. So there, you'll have a lot of natural calamities. So when it happens, so there is, at least supply constraints. The local market will have a tendency to increase the price, but how retailers win confidence is about, maintaining what is your cost and whatever your normal margin that you need to maintain it. And there, if you are able to maintain that, the government functionaries, they are happy, the retailers, actually the consumers are happy, and you actually gain confidence. So that's the test of your patience, how you are managing your discipline. So in pandemic time, the retailers have a great opportunity, though went well, to win the confidence of, both, vendors community, as well as, at least, again, the mind share of the consumers. The last piece about e-commerce, as all of us are reading, yes, the business has gone manifold. You talk of Amazon, talk of, Flipkart, talk of, any retailers. For Reliance, yes, for us, the initially when it started, all the deliveries our boys did, nobody asked them. They saw that, yes, consumers are unable to come. Many territories, I remember, they allowed actually the WhatsApp number of the store manager to be circulated. People started actually sharing their orders through their WhatsApp group, and the orders were delivered at, at least customers' place. They're pretty excited, and many places it has come because for the customer safety, even, I remember, even, for our associate safety, we have to break it into 3 shifts. Why? Because if one group gets impacted, then the store will completely shut if you have got, infections. So that is why one group was literally kept at home and only 2 groups were operating. So they will have, relatively lesser attendance of people, but really associate, our customers really chipped in. They helped actually, the associates even to function in the stores. They have literally, they themselves have put the stocks, and customers have been really empathetic and really helped the business. I hope, that's the experience that I had across the country, and I hope, other retailers may have the similar kind of, experience. The next, actually, when, these WhatsApp orders kept growing, we thought maybe it is time, to start, say, online, the e-commerce business in a softer way. We did. But yes, very quickly, within 6, maybe, I can say effectively around 15 weeks, we launched directly at one go in 200 cities of the country. And within 15 weeks, we can, at least take, the pride that, at least we are the largest e-commerce grocery retailer in the country in such a short span of time. Yes, not that we did well. We really struggled in the initial phases. A lot of it was pretty messy. We learned in a hard way how to actually improve. We have still to catch up. But yes, for the customers, in such kind of time that, at least you launch anything, they excuse you for all your mistakes. And they excused us. Whether, orders were there, they were not fully fulfilled, quality could be impacted, but customers really apologized, and, they really excused us in all sense, and were really, grateful to each of our customers. And next, actually, the other thing that I can sell. So this is slightly our model, actually, what we launched. It is more of hyper-local. All the actually last mile is truly last mile, and you have a personalized relationship with the consumers, because the customers, they know that, who is my store manager, who is delivering, even at my home step. It's more of an extension of the Kirana version. And you have the personalized relationship, which is really cutting, and it will have a lot, edge over the cost of delivery, and we'll experience. Now it's just, only 15 weeks old baby, and we hope, at least the overall all retailers should be getting out of this e-commerce space. So that's what, I would like to sum up, and which are going to be the new normal actually for the overall retailer from the operating angle. So now, I'll be waiting for any kind of questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your deliberation. There are so many questions which needs to be addressed. So I'll read out each one of all the questions, and I will ask you to please join with it. So one of the questions are asked by Sudarshan Rao. In present pandemic situation, the local retailers, small scale, are finding it difficult to get the customers because of restrictions, safety, government rules, etc. So how can these small retailers can survive and meet the day-to-day expenses to operate the outlets? So may I ask, may I request Kumar Rajagopalan sir to address this question? So
I think part of it was answered. Part of it was answered by Professor Poonam Kumar, and I'll
yes.
kind of take a part of this into this. The fact is that consumers have started shopping differently. Forget the restrictions. I think we all need to understand that consumers are shifting, and I've got 2 or 3 things that I've got to think about as consumers, because my first part I introduced what happened. The more important thing is what is going to happen, and I think that's important, and this question is asking that thankfully. So I thank you for this question also. The fact is that consumers have they have become more digital than they ever could have been, because they're all connecting with each other, they're all speaking with each other, they're all interacting with each other. Relationships are getting redefined thanks to the pandemic. The second part is that consumers have also had the time to relook at themselves and relook at the relationships that they want to have on a commercial basis. So firstly, I mean, for most of us, we've started understanding places in our houses that we never knew existed, for example, right? We all started relooking at the various items and thinking, what is the item that's really useful for me? Is it really nice or not nice for me? And then it slowly shifted. So we started looking at essentials, we looked at discretionary, but we relooked at whatever is adding value to us. Third thing is that there are brand definitions that's got created in the minds of consumers in a much more hard manner than they ever were. If some brand was not clearly existent, the customers are directly comparing whatever a retailer sold to be a commodity, or the retailer himself has got commoditized. So they'll start thinking, do I buy the dal from so-and-so person or so-and-so person? And then they start thinking, mujhe to dal lena hai. I'll buy it from wherever it is that I can get fastest or cheapest. So this became the way it is. Very few companies were able to stand there and say, listen, you buy my dal because my dal has become important. Which are the companies that became most important? The companies that redefined their product very clearly. They were able to very clearly substantiate their positioning, substantiate what they stood for. I think that is what is happening. And some brands have really stood out in this market. And we touched upon it slightly earlier. I think, again, the professor had touched it very nicely there. But the most important part, and this is where I think we need to understand, is that retailers have also redefined. They have also got digital. The fact that the local Kirana is sent WhatsApp messages and told you what is happening with them, what is new with them, why should you be coming there, also asking you to block the item so that they could keep it packed so you could come and take it if you can, or to ask you to pay by Google Pay and to deliver it to your house, has all got changed. It's not as if the local Kiranas did not do that before. They are doing it differently. They would let customers call them and deliver it. So e-commerce in this country, frankly, is not new. I have always stated that and I reiterate. But the way in which e-commerce is getting done is the e part is come. Otherwise, delivery to the houses was always there. Now, what is going to make the small retailer flourish in days to come? I think part of it was very clearly told by Kamadeva, because he said very clearly that if you are able to deliver, and that ability to locally deliver faster person who is trustworthy, is able to deliver, is really attractive to consumers. And I think I also saw one of the earlier questions telling, how do you avoid useless items coming home, or how do you avoid dubious items coming to the house, right? I mean, there is somebody who would put that up. This is because you start very clearly differentiating those companies that you trust will send to you proper items to the companies that you can't trust. And this is what is getting redefined in this. Now, any retailer who's got his consumers very clearly available, who's taken the pains to know their consumers, is now interacting with that customer in all the manners, what I call as an omni-channel manner. He is able to send them WhatsApp messages, he is able to send them phone and tell them some things, he is able to pack an item and tell them you can come and take it from the store, he is able to deliver it to the consumer, and most importantly, he is able to give guarantees for what he or she is giving as a service or a product. And I think that's what will keep the nearby shops really healthy. I do not agree that the nearby shops have become weak. My belief is that the nearby shops have become stronger. Yes, there are some categories which have come under some stress. For example, garments, especially if somebody is selling garments for going to office. People are not going to offices as much as they used to. So there is a little bit of a question mark about whether you should wear any more office garments as many. Now these are things that's getting redefined, but again, the marriages have started, all my nearby stores have started selling, those who are occasion wear stores have started selling. So if you are a great brand, if you know your customers, I think you are in the right place. If you do not know your customer, if you do not have a brand to talk about, there is a question mark. And there, if you are not willing to adopt modernity, if you're not willing to relate, there is a definite question mark. That's happening to all of us as human beings in our relationships. We are connecting with some people we're not connecting so much. So it's the same way with retailers also. So I think we'll need to try and work out that method. Do not ever think Chota retailer is not good. I always tell people, he's a smart person, he knows all his customers, and he knows how to handle what they need.
Thank you very much, sir, for your right explanation on
Dr.
it.
Sunil, I would like to add on.
Yes,
May I?
yes. Yes, ma'am, please.
Thank you. I think I'll go with what Kumar Raja sir has just stated. This is similar, and I'm giving you an example for a local retailer. Some of our students are working as an entrepreneur, and they are working in the sector of, with respect to designer wears. So when it came to garment also, imagine the word which I stated, curate. How do you curate your garment? You need to be smart here. You need to be a product differentiator here. So if all those local retailers who are making a garment, let's not even focus only on the garment in maybe the sections which you're talking about the bottom wear, because we are in an online mode. And even if we are not going to office, we are sitting here and actually we are doing our meetings and everything. So this upper wear has come up as a fashion now. This upper wear with respect to in garment industry. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm just giving an example as a product differentiator. Think of how this upper wear can be built in a different mode, and I'm sure the people will definitely go for these kind of products. So you'll have to be innovative, differentiator in your product thought. It's rest all points are really valid. Your local retailers have gained a lot in majority of the sector at this moment of time. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, ma'am. And there is another question from Ram Mohan, I believe. He's asking that how can be more local with respect to consumption of local produce and see that only leftover is shifted to next level and so on. So I would like to request Kamadev Mohanty sir to address this question. Once again, I'm reading out. How can be more local with respect to consumption of local produce and see that only leftover is shifted to other levels or next levels and so on?
So actually, see, all the retailers, if you see, particularly in grocery space, I can tell you, the customer has to feel that, at least is getting all the items which are localized. It's not only related to festivals. See, even in place like Mumbai, say Navi Mumbai, if you have got a Keralite base, so, and you have got the top 3 communities who are there, even they are sitting there. If you don't have, the assortment which are available in Kerala for the Keralite, and then, the shops will not be successful. So now what has happened actually, all retailers, wherever, at least they are, even national retailers I'm talking of, the first preference goes to have all the unique local actually asset available to have, get it listed and sell it. Even they have, at least gone next to, as I told you, wherever those communities are living, at least pan India, even listing them and taking those materials. So to be successful, you have to have all the local items. And I hope every retailer is concerned about it. And last 4-5 years, I'm seeing a lot of work is going on. Now that we are actually opening stores pan India, if I go to Northeast or, even in North Bengal, you have to have, the pasta, chow mein, all those, have to be fast, which are, even people consume their locally produced, those have to be fast kept there rather than directly pushing any national assortment a topmost priority. I feel, at least every retailer is working around. That is good for, at least local industries to come up or local produce to come up. And, it's a matter of time that, they will be all successful.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Another question is from Durgadas. As the new normal, now we are talking about that the online, or we can take the help of digital. So the most important shift that happened from pandemics from Monday to online shopping. So what are the protection available or required for consumers to safeguard? May I now request Dr. Poonam to address this question? Once again, I am rereading the question. This question is that now you are so dependent on online shopping or because of this pandemic. So there are so much cheating happening in mail orders because you are getting the fake products, or if you send the products also it is not able to reach properly. So what protection measures that we can take so that the consumers can safeguard from this? Please unmute, madam. I request you to please unmute your mic.
Sure. I'm saying that's a really good question because it has happened previously also many times, and specifically at the time of festivals, I have seen merchandise getting mixed up. And this time, since hurdles are there and so many even challenges are there, this is going to come up. Now, from retailers' end, this is something, a request that we have to really focus on reverse logistics. We are working on reverse logistics, but as said and as even talked about several times, that even sir stated that it has happened that by mistake some other product came, the time was not right, and with due apology, all the consumers took it in a very humble manner. So that reverse, unless and until we are not making up our reverse logistics sound, which will take a certain amount of time, specifically at this moment, it will take certain moment time. But I think from some of the onlines which we are actually assessing our products, we are going great. We are not finding any kind of ethicality, specifically from big online, you can say retailers like Amazon, Flipkart. But all those who have just jumped into retail, some kind of mistakes, it cannot be called as an unethicality, but yes, some kind of a merchandise mistake might happen. We should be ready for that. Like even I initially ordered something from XYZ, I would not like to name, and grocery, and it has happened. And humbly, when I said that, they say, ma'am, merchandise mix ho gaya. So we should be prepared. And I think even the retailers are getting prepared for it in reverse logistics to make it possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, this question I request Kumar Rajagopalan sir to address. The question is that with the introduction of new Farm Bill 2020, what change you expect in the retail market or retail sector? So please address.
Yeah, I will answer this Farm Bill. I just want to bring in some aspects which I didn't think I got fully covered when initially I gave my comments, right? What next? And I did tell that I will tell what's next because that's important for all of us. Yes. What's going to happen? And the next part is that I think most of us have changed the way we consume as consumers. That much is for sure. And therefore, there are 3-4 things that I think retailers will do differently. And I think everybody has to keep looking out for that very nicely. One is that digital adoption by consumers as well as retailers is inevitable. Therefore, let's not run away from it. That's the way life is going to be. If you're not there, you're going to lose out on the bus. Second thing is that the neighborhood stores are still relevant. Somebody I already answered that question. The third thing is that partnerships that you never thought would happen are going to keep happening now, because collaborations have become the key for surviving in business. Collaboration with banks, collaboration with e-commerce companies, collaboration with your competitors. Amazing set of stories. I've had various members of ours asking for people. Some of my retailers did not have enough people because they were selling essentials, and some retailers had excess people. During COVID, they were willing to exchange people with each other. So you will find dramatically the way in which people collaborate to make it happen. Nobody is a permanent enemy. Nobody is just a competitor. Everybody can become a friend and a collaborator. This is what is going to happen in the marketplace. And the last part is the safety and hygiene element, and the innovation element is going to be the biggest element that all of us will look for if we want to survive. And I think that's the way things are going to be. With that in mind, let me touch this topic of farm. It's a slightly political topic, but I will tell from the point of view of what RA has been asking for and where things could go. We've always said that a farmer who is the principal grower should have a right to sell to whoever he or she wants. This doesn't mean that the government should not set up a system to support the farmer with some support pricing mechanism or the agricultural marketing mechanism. So we said there is a need for the coexistence of both for things to happen. And I think the Farm Bill has got a possibility there. I think there are lots of people who are getting worried about it, but the execution is the key in this. And the execution, from what I understand of the bill, is all about giving an opportunity to farmer to give it to whoever. Originally, the farmer could only sell it through the marketing channels, and this meant that there were definitely going to be a middleman who would not necessarily be the way in which a farmer would like to sell. So the ability to sell to whoever you want, and if there are large retailers wanting to buy from them, if they can buy directly, I think it's very good. It will create a need for everybody in a supply chain to show that they are adding value. Any bill that progresses to an extent where every individual in the supply chain is being asked one question: are you adding value, or is it that the government mechanism has told you that you are an essential part? And I think that is the change in this, and it's wonderful. I think we need to wait and watch.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. The next question I would like request Kamdev Mohan sir to address. Now it is a very big time. Dasara, Diwali is coming, and with this pandemic, most of the people have lost their jobs, and the revenue part is slowed down. Even if they have the revenue, they want to save it because they do not know what next and how many days this pandemic will go. So they are in the safer side. How does it impact in the retail business, and how come it can? Is there any chances of a big business or marginal?
So one thing, at least I would like to address it. One is, on the grocery retail, the traction that I am getting from where you have got Dasara, they all are actually, at least all LFL positive, all are 100% plus budget. They are all hitting. To talk of West Bengal, talk of Odisha, talk of the entire East. Even place like Karnataka, where little bit of Dasara is there, they are also hitting more than 100%. So that means it's all bouncing back. Grocery per se, whether people are at least earning less, and at least everybody who had decent job or whatever earning they have got, at least basic consumption, nobody is going to really impact. Maybe on actually lifestyle, it may honestly I won't have at least any visibility of lifestyle, but the lifestyle business that we do in our store, that's a value actually apparel, even that business is also going strong. So I don't feel actually it has been it has impacted and all festive sales are really catching up, and Diwali stocks are already started hitting my north stores, west stores. Sales is yet to pick up, and maybe next 10-15 days we'll see actually, but we're all confident it should go. Why actually it should go, I just tell you. So consuming particularly for the Diwali, so buying sweets in north is very important, and people may feel slightly actually insecure or unsafe to buy from a halwai from outside. So there the advantage will be for the modern retail to really supply these items, and you might at least what Mr. Kumar told or Madam Poonam told, even a lot of innovations, and now nobody knows exactly what going to do. Even the e-commerce that we have launched, we also don't know actually whether people they may not go to buy actually gifts and send it to go to their place to distribute. And we're finding a lot of at least orders started flowing in from the corporate to buy and send directly to their employees' place. So at least till now, at least Dasara, I feel it's been very positive. There is zero actually impact on like for like sales, and we're also pretty confident. Yes, even Diwali entire festive should go well, and I don't think any salary or job loss and all any impact in the retail business till now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So the next question I would like to request Poonam Madam to address. The question is for students. So being a young students, they are moreover coming with new startups. So for this, in this time of a pandemic, what is the new? Can you suggest some new ideas to the students so that they come up with in terms of retail sector, in terms of startup ideas?
I think this was already answered while I was giving my talk. And the one word is how do you bring into digitality some with brick to click and click to brick. So you need to be smart enough how to convert your brick and mortar, be it a small retailer or a huge retailer, into a clickology. And sometimes it's the other way around. Some of the entrepreneurs or our students think of it's always good to start from an e-commerce business. At least start from a portal. They all know how to make a website today. Our students are quite good, quite digitally savvy. All of them actually know the Wix platform and other platform to at least initiate with some of the ideas which they always think about. They are great in thinking about their problem formulations into different problems which we are facing here. And they are coming up, whether it is with respect to a particular segment or overall segment. So if they have already started some startups with respect to online, say for example, could be a gifting business or could be into a grocery business in India, out of India. Now is the time to give an experiential learning or experiential retail to the consumer. So collaborate both of them, try to come into a platform where you can bring click into, of course, into brick. Another way around, if you have got a brick and mortar, maybe a small shop, maybe a small kind of even boutique, say for example for girls, and now you're seeing that people are reluctant to come to these boutiques, so I have a good designer store or a grocery shop where you are selling, say, vegan items. You're selling an item where there are a number of students who are moving towards from eating non-veg into veganism. That has also come up as a consumer trend. And you want to build up some kind of products into veganism as a restaurant food. And if you want to build up in the similar mode, then bring an online mode apart from this. These are some of the thought process that the students can actually think of in an innovative way. Just take care. Your product should have some differentiation and it should fulfill the real problem of the society where you are actually targeting yourself, not necessarily to the world. Don't think of world. It's only to that particular area we are trying to actually come.
Thank you, madam. So this is the end of the questions. So it is my privilege to give a vote of thanks. First of all, I would like to tell something about SBM University. Our SBM University has been established by Government of India with a mandate to set best standards in impacting value-based quality education that builds leadership. This new generation university, founded and led by Professor Vishwajit Patnaik, former professor of IIM Indore and Lucknow, and a widely acclaimed management guru, known for internationally for his expertise in the domain of human resource management, emphasis learning by experimenting and innovation with a flexible and pragmatic attitude. Now ASBM offers in business management, commerce, communication under undergraduate to PhD level, and has planned to introduce innovation courses in the fields of law, economics, and all. So my sincere thanks to Kumar Rajagopalan sir for coming and joining in this session as a panelist. So my heartfelt on behalf within a very short span of notice you have accepted and you have joined. We know you are have a very busy schedule, and I hope in future endeavors you will join us and explore our students, and so that they will have a good impact on the retail sector. my heartfelt thanks to Professor Poonam Madam from IIM Sambalpur.
Thank you.
She very politely, without any hesitation, she have accepted when we have approached her, and she have come up with new ideas. And this is a big opportunity for all of us to have an interaction, so that the students can explore with the digital technology or the internet that we have now, which we do not used to have when we are students, but now our students have better opportunity for this linkage. Thank you, madam, for joining us and doing such good deliberation. My sincere thanks to Kamadev Mohanty sir. He is very polite, and he have accepted us and mailed us, and he have joined us and explored so many innovative ideas and data learning to all of us. So we hope we'll have a similar kind of sessions in future also, and you all will be deliberating with us. When it comes to workshops and seminars, SBM University is continuously organizing webinars, seminars, conferences, and workshops. We have successfully completed 5 certified programs on business and methodology, supply chain management, marketing, finance, etc. in the last 4 months. We have also conducted 21 webinars, and today is the 22nd one. And thank you all for your cooperation. And I also thanks to our technician, placement officer Lalit Babu, and all Abhijit, Professor Abhijit, and our president, Vice Chancellor Madam, and all eminent faculties for joining us and making this program success. Thank you very much. And I also, last but not least, my thanks to the participants and faculty members from various international colleges and universities and state universities for joining us. And you have asked several questions. And thank you very much for joining us. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can say.